Hello everyone and welcome. I am Andy Bryan from The Soul Pathway, and today within this video I'm going to be talking to you about the heroine's journey and the awakening of the divine feminine for you as an individual and becoming the heroine within your own life and connecting with your inner goddess, and also the awakening of the divine feminine for you as an individual, and what it also means for us as a collective as we look at the world around us from a collective as a whole, and not just you as females but us as males as well, and the world around us. So I'm really excited about sharing this all with you today. If you have any questions or comments throughout the video, please be sure to leave them below, and I'll be sure to answer any questions that you may have. So let's dive into the content itself and what really is the difference between the hero's journey and the heroine's journey. Now, the truth of the matter is that it's not very different at all. In fact, the structure of the hero's journey is very much the same. You as an individual will go about a similar journey and a quest as what a man would do, but the truth is you will express yourself in a different way, and this is all based on how we are brought up in relation to the culture at which we live and how society views us in the world as well. So this is where the hero's journey and the heroine's journey very much differs, and that's what I'm going to be speaking to you about now. So when we start off our journey, whether we are, again, male or female, we will be living by conditions of the ego. We will find ourselves in the original world. And the ego, from the way I see it, is the ego is all the conditions, behaviours placed onto us by society, by the culture at which we live, by values and beliefs passed on to us by our parents. That shapes our ego, that shapes who we are as an individual, and it shapes the way we live our lives in the systems at which we were brought up in, the cultures at which we live as we operate in our lives. And this is where we're living in the original world and living by our conscious mind and living within the conscious programming at which we live and exist. Okay, and you can see that's the first three stages of the hero's journey here, or in relation to this video, the heroine's journey. This is where you'll have your call to adventure. But if we go to archetypes, the archetypes is really what we need to look at here, because in relation to archetypes, you will express yourselves differently in relation to whether you're male and female, at least when you're in the preparation phase of the journey, because in other phases of the journey your archetypes may differ in relation to you, again, being either a male or a female. So if we look first of all at the preparation phase of the journey, where you find yourself in the original world, you can see here by looking at the image on the left hand side that you have the four archetypes: the innocent, the orphan, the warrior and the caregiver. I said living by conditions of the ego. Now if I go to the traditional women's journey through archetypes, this is very much correlates to the hero's journey structure itself as you go about the journey, as you awaken to your heroine within. And naturally we will all start off in our lives living by the innocent or the orphan. Now the innocent is the innocent that lives within us, innocent to the world around us, innocent to the suffering. You know, when we grow up, our parents teach us that the world is all sunshine and rainbows. Our parents teach us that there is a lot of beauty in the world, and there is a lot of beauty in the world. That is no doubt about that. But they will often shield us from the pain and suffering in the world, and so we will neglect to see that part of the world itself. So we're all living in that place of innocence as a child, as we grow up. At the same time, we also, in some ways, living in part of the orphan mindset and the energy of the orphan. And the orphan is someone that's been neglected and abused. And I believe in some way or form, each and every one of us has been in that place of neglect and abuse. And that may be on a very small scale, or it may be on quite a large scale, on a physical or even on an emotional basis. But let me just talk about on the small scale before we move on to the other archetype. So again, as children, as young babies, we may want our mother, we may want our father around. We may find ourselves put in the cot when we're very young babies, and our mother and our father leave us to it as we go to sleep, and we may feel that neglect. Oh, why are you not here for me? Because you've got that deep connection with your mum, more importantly, and also your father as well. Or even you may have been in the supermarket and you've wandered off to look for something, and you look around and your mum's not there at all. Or even if you go shopping with your dad's not there at all. And in that moment you feel neglected. You feel she's gone. Where's she gone? So we'll all have part of an orphan within ourselves as well, feeling that part of neglect. So we both, whether we're male or female, live in and operate by the innocent and the orphan, because we've had part of that in our childhood, each and every one of us. Now, as women in society, and I think this is very much shifted today, but there's still part of it at play. And this is where I think it's important for you as women to become more individualistic for yourself and find your own truth and connect with what is important for you and what you love about yourself. But as you start off in society and you're living by those conditions of culture and the culture at which you live and the society at which you grew up in, naturally in the Western world, or even the world around us, we show that you want to find the love of your life, you want to settle down, you want to have children, and you want to have a loving family. So you search for that love so that you can create that environment. And again, that's what women will innately want to do within themselves. It's not only from a societal perspective, but that inner need, that individual need that you will desire to become that individual in life. As you find that role, or that role becomes a part of you, naturally you will become that caregiver. You will become that caregiver for your husband. You will become that caregiver for your family. And also, you will become that caregiver even for some of your friends and those around you, because you're starting to adopt that role. Again, this is still living in the aspects of the ego in society and culture, the way in which you live. So you're operating in this mindset, and you may be operating as the caregiver not only at home, you may be operating by the caregiver in your workplace as well, and also within your within your friends, in terms of that environment. So as the caregiver, you are becoming that loving, caring mother, that nurturer, that supporter, that gives, in some ways, your undivided attention. You give that unconditional love that that your husband needs, that your children need. And each and every archetype has its layers. So when you start off at the first layer, you could say that the archetypes are being expressed in the conditions of the ego from societal aspects, or you're living by, the first layer of that archetype. In some ways, it's controlling you in some ways, But as you move through that archetype, if you are that real loving, caring, nurturing wife for your husband and even for your children, you may feel like you're becoming that suffering martyr, like you're not getting that back, you're not receiving that in return. And that's what I find often women find themselves in, and even some men find themselves in at times. They become that caregiver and they're not having that balance within that is really important for you. So you may not be having that balance within yourself. And so this is when you start to create those shifts within your own life. Okay, so you've got the journey there, you can see, but this is still very much the first 3 stages of the journey itself: the original world, the call to adventure, and even the refusal, where you're living by those conditions of the ego, which you can see there, living by your conscious programming, by your conscious mind. And this is where in society you may hit that brick wall, and this is where the red line comes in there, which you see, because the next phase of our journey, as we shift from that ego, is we shift to that unknown world. We shift to that world at which we're looking to find ourselves. We're looking to connect with our soul, and we're looking to, in your respect, to awaken that inner goddess. You awaken to your divine truth of who you are. And so when you shift from that cultural and societal conditions and you look to search and really truly find yourself within that, then you will cross that threshold and you will truly begin your journey, which I'll go through in a moment. So once your journey begins and you start to break free from those cultural and societal conditions that have been passed on to you, or in some ways they could be, put onto you by the world around you, because you might not have felt like you wanted to live in this way, or live in this culture, and that's why you're trying to really break free from it and the other way. So this is where your journey truly begins, as you connect with your soul. And you can see that within this video. Here you've got the seeker, the destroyer, the creator, and the lover. Now the lover was very much in the feminine journey. It was very much in the preparation phase, as you search for that love, because you wanted to become that wife to a loving husband, and you wanted to create that family, because that was your, again, societal role. But you'll also find it in the journey itself, and we'll look at that again in a moment. But once you step into that unknown world and you start to truly connect with yourself and what is important to you, you'll then start operating by different archetypes. You'll start, embracing different archetypes within your life. So the first one here is you've got the destroyer. And the destroyer is often deemed as a negative archetype, and like destroying the world, around you. But the important thing about the destroyer in a positive aspect is that you're destroying old beliefs, you're destroying old patterns, old ways of living and being, and you're breaking down all of those things that you are told you should live your life this way, and you're finding your own truth within that, So the destroyer destroys those old patterns, all those old behaviours. And the creator, at which you can see below that, creates a new way of living and being. The creator is forming a new culture for yourself, forming a new system that works for you, as you connect with your own divinity, connect with your own truth, connect with your own unconditional love, where you look at that lover archetype. Okay? But you've also got the seeker and the warrior. Now the seeker, at the same time as destroying those old patterns, old behaviours, old beliefs, and at the same time you're creating those new ways of living and being, the seeker is the seeker of truth. The seeker of truth for yourself and what lies within you, because the truth lies within you. And in fact, I did a blog post about that the other day, so if you wanted to connect with that blog post, you can find it on my website, thesoulpathway.tv. But I think it's important to mention that, because you're seeking to find out what's true for you. You're learning the illusions of the world around you, because again, if you go back to the innocent just for a moment, the innocent is innocent to the world around them. So as you awaken to your divine feminine and the essence of who you are, you become the seeker of truth. As you awaken to those illusions at which you've been taught for all those years, and then as you connect with all those archetypes, so go back again, you connect with all those archetypes, the seeker, destroyer, the lover and the creator, then you truly connect with your soul, and you connect with yourself, as you can see there. And it's the journey to your soul, it's the journey to yourself, and it's the awakening of the divine feminine within yourself, awakening to that inner goddess that lives within you. And I know each and every one of you really want to connect with that, as this is one of the reasons why you're watching this video today. And I do want to thank you all for watching this. So that's very much the journey itself. But then the return home, as you go about your journey initially starts as an individual quest, where you're finding out the truth for yourself. You're starting to live life on your terms. You're starting to be fulfilled in your own life and connect with yourself and connect with your soul. And that is absolutely fantastic. That's what each and every one of us wants to do. Again, from a feminine standpoint and even from a masculine standpoint, we all want to break free from that society which we feel shackled, we feel confined by, so that we can live by what we love in our own life. And as we go about our journey, we shift from that individual perspective to that collective perspective. Okay? And this is where you will become the ruler, the magician, the fool and the sage. And this is very much how you pass your message on to the world. Do you pass it on in relation to being that ruler? Are you becoming that magician, that transformer, that real positive energy, but also that very motivational energy at the same time? Or are you becoming that wise sage in your life? The wise sage which passes on wisdom and advice in your own unique way, but not in that motivational way, but very much as that guide, as you help people connect with their own inner wisdom, you know. And even the fool, and the interesting thing about the fool here, the fool actually plays two roles. The fool could be the fool at the beginning of the journey, where they laugh and joke about the world around them and they don't really want to see the truth, and so they joke about it and they neglect it. But as you become the fool in your own life and in your own journey, as you go about your return home, you connect with the fun-loving aspect of yourself in the world around you, in noticing that it isn't all sunshine and rainbows, but you're wise to it, and you try and bring laughter to every situation and help people create shifts and changes in very much a different way. So the return home is very much different. But in relation to your individual journey, this is very much an overview of how it differs from the heroine's journey and the hero's journey. You can see it's all based on from a societal perspective. If I go back and look at that preparation phase of the journey there, the masculine or men will start off their role in society as being that warrior. And the warrior as an archetype, when they're living by the conditions of the ego, living by the societal cultures and religions, is the one that fights for competition, fights to be right, fights to bring the money in for the family, put bread on the table, things like that. And they are taught to be the strong person in society. And the interesting thing about the masculine journey in terms of archetypes is they will become the seeker, the destroyer of beliefs and patterns and behaviours, creator of new ways of living and beings, and a system that supports them. But at the same time, there is also very much a different part of you that you need to seek within yourself. And the masculine will need to connect with the divine feminine within themselves. And, the feminine will need to connect with, the masculine aspects of themselves as well. And this is where I want to talk to you about things from a societal perspective, or more so a collective perspective now. Because as a woman on your journey, you will naturally obviously connect with that caregiver in your life. You will become that caregiver. And as you shift through your journey, you will connect with your inner warrior. Now, the inner warrior is very much different when you're connecting with the feminine energy within yourself. Because instead of being that one that competes, and the one that fights for competition and fights for that paycheck, or even the better position in that workplace, you're more so shifting for fighting for the cause, for fighting what's right, and for making that difference in the world, in your own life and in the world around you as a collective. But what happens is, if I go back to that slide again, you can see those slides. You've got the yin and the yang here, and the yin and the yang represents, the balance within yourself. But if you look at it from the masculine and feminine perspective, it's the balance of the masculine and feminine energies within yourself as you come together as a whole, as an individual, But if we look at that from, again, you connecting with that inner warrior within yourself, when you connect with your inner warrior and you start to connect with that masculine energy and connect with what is important and right for you, and start to embrace that, I very much liken this to a seesaw, whereby first of all you're operating with the feminine energies, which is great, and then you want to connect with the masculine energy. So you try and balance that out, so you connect with that masculine aspect as well. And then what you'll do is the seesaw will go up the other side. So you'll create an imbalance within yourself because you're trying to connect with more of that. And this is when you'll connect with the fire and passion. But as you go about your journey, the seesaw will balance out, and it will become even within yourself. And that's the balance of the divine masculine and feminine within yourself. Now, if we look at this as a collective, because as I said, your journey shifts from an individual journey very much to a collective journey as well. If we look at the world around us at the moment, there's a lot of pain and suffering in the world. There's a bit of discord happening. And the great thing is that women are stepping up for what is right for them within the feminine movement. You know, you want to fight for equality. You want not only for women, but for everybody, in terms of, you know, maybe it's race, maybe it's for different classes, the class system, but you want equality for all. So, you know, you've got the feminine marches around the world, and you're each stepping up, which is fantastic. What I feel is happening in some ways is that when you're stepping up, you're embracing that masculine and that inner warrior, which is really important. And the inner warrior connects with that fire, that passion, and what is truly important. But at the same time, you might feel like you're creating that imbalance where the masculine is coming out too much. So it's important that I feel is to create that inner balance as well. So it's level, you know, and so you're connecting with that inner warrior within yourself as a feminine and as a female, but you're sharing with that love and compassion, which I know you do around the world, which is really important, because that loving energy really needs to come through for everyone as we shift as a collective, as we make those changes in our lives, you know. So I thought it was really important to mention that for you, because again, we look at the lover archetype, because I didn't go back and mention that lover archetype, but the lover archetype as that female initially, you will start, you know, finding that love and finding that partner and building that family. That's the love that you will create as well, which is great, and you will find that unconditional love. But as you go about your journey itself, you will connect with that inner lover within. You will find that unconditional love of yourself and who you are. You won't become that suffering martyr of society where you have to care all the time and not have that balance of receiving that is important to you. But once you connect with that unconditional love within yourself, you start to look at the collective as well, because as I said, it shifts to that collective, but you start connecting with the love around you. You start to realize the interconnectedness of all of us, which is absolutely fantastic and phenomenal. So that, ladies and gentlemen, or more so lovely females, is the heroine's journey. And it's very much an overview of the heroine's journey, because there is only so much I can cover in one video. But I hope you have found that valuable for yourself and your life, and I hope it's going to help you awaken the divine feminine within yourself as you connect with your inner goddess. If you have any questions or comments, again, please leave it below this video, either on YouTube or even on Facebook if you're watching it through my Facebook page. And for those of you who would like more personal support on your journey, I do provide a free Heroes Journey Clarity Call, which you can actually see on this video, just on the right hand side, or even below the video in the description. And the Clarity Call helps you bring a sense of clarity and perspective in your own life, and starts thinking about how the Hero's Journey can support you to connecting with who you are, as you live in alignment with who you are, and as you connect with your soul pathway. If you'd like to find more about that, again, you can find it out in the description. I'd love to connect with you through a Hero's Journey Clarity Call, and I'd love to support you on your journey. And with that, I will say thank you again for listening, and I will say bye for now, and I'll see you all very soon. The Soul Pathway, the hero's journey to your soul. Awaken your hero or heroine from within and connect with your soul. Visit www.thesoulpathway.tv for more information.